So Hare Krishna, everyone. My obeisances of all. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvacha patitanang pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And our prayers to Srila Prabhupada for his blessings, his empowerment, his presence. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminita Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskacha Deshe Tarane Jai. Hare Krishna, Francia.
Good morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so anyone have anything special that they wanted to mention that they've run across in their lives that it's impacted them in any special way spiritually? Yes, Lakshman Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Gurudev.
Oh, Lakshman Prabhu, before I forget, I'm running really low in the neuropathy formula.
Oh, I'll look at the tracking. It should arrive.
Oh, you sent it. Okay.
Yeah. I suspect. I'll look at the tracking, and I suspect it's 3 days, but it's always longer to Hawaii. So I suspect probably Monday at the latest.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh.
I have maybe a four or 5 day supply.
Okay, it went out on Wednesday.
Oh, then
Yeah.
I'm glad you told me because I don't go to the post. Sometimes I just go to the post office once a week. But,
okay.
Or twice a week, maybe average twice a week. But okay, good. I mean, it could be there, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm good until today's Friday. Yeah. If I don't go to the post office till Monday, I'll still be fine. Well, thank you all for being here. Lakshman Prabhu, you were going to say something before I interrupted rudely.
Oh, no, Gurudev. This week in the Bhagavatam class, I really appreciated, you've mentioned this several times of Srila Prabhupada's purports being the words of Lord Krishna. And one of the things that the devotees shared this week that reminded me of you mentioning that was a story of how there was an interviewer interviewing Prabhupada. And it sounds like the interviewer was really, this was in a Bhagavatam class the speaker was sharing. The interviewer was, I guess, really, really skeptical. And the devotee, when Prabhupada said, or the interviewer asked, how do you write your books? And Prabhupada answered that these are, the words of Lord Krishna. The devotee went in and started explaining about Paramatma and how the Lord goes through Paramatma.
That was Rameshwar.
Do you know this story? And I wanted to find the story so I could read it. It just sounded like a sweet story. And then Prabhupada, it sounded like he corrected him, like he put his hand down and he said, no. And if you know the story, please carry it onward.
Well, yeah.
I guess the Lord was next to him.
Asked him, about his books. And well, you go ahead and explain what you just heard. And I'll fix it.
And what I remember is that then Prabhupada put his hand down and he said, no, that's not correct. Lord Krishna is standing right next to me. And so he made a delineation that it was not what the devotee was saying. And I just was struck by that.
Right. So he was saying that, correct. Prabhupada answered the question that he didn't write them. Krishna wrote them, and so one of the devotees started to speak before Prabhupada went any further, and saying that Krishna is like from within or something. It was kind of vague. Prabhupada said, no, Krishna he's directly speaking to me. It's like he's sitting right next to him. Directly. So just like when we may say I did something and how did you do it? Well, God was with me. We could say that, and there's truth to that. But I mean, in this case, like Krishna's like right there with him. There was no like vague connection between the two. It was very specific. Yeah, that's. And as we advance more in spiritual life, at our neophyte stage, we have to be very careful when we think God's talking to us. We want to be, or God in a dream. I've heard people tell me some of the wackiest stuff that God told them. And this one woman, she told me that Narada Muni appeared and he was telling her this stuff that just wasn't correct. So the checks that we always use are shastra, sadhu, and guru. You probably heard me say that many times. And when there's a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita which says Jive Sakshat Nahi Taite Guru Chaita Rupe Shiksha Guru Hoi Krishna Mahanta Sarupe. I'm not sure who's speaking in that verse. I'd have to go back and read that, but it's basically saying that Krishna is in our heart, but we don't have access to him. Even he's in our heart, he's given us instructions, but we can't hear. Therefore, Shiksha Guru Hoi Krishna Mahanta Swarupe, he steps on the outside and speaks directly to you through Guru. And that's the check. Now, of course, if the Guru is giving you weird things, and we'll check with sadhu or other sadhus, because sometimes not all gurus are like Prabhupada on that level where he is an absolute pure devotee, totally in contact with Krishna at every moment. Small-time gurus, not with a capital G, but a little g, in small type, small font. We've seen many cases where were maybe very empowered and speaking properly, but then at some point because they're not pure yet, they may go off track. And what is a wonderful story in the Bhagavatam where the Guru is giving bad advice? What comes to mind? Malati knows.
Shukracharya.
Sukracharya, yes.
Yeah.
The story of King Bali.
Right.
Yeah. Sukracharya was giving bad advice, and his disciple had become so advanced that he didn't listen to his guru. It was anyway. So that can be there, and I think that's something that in this day and age we really have to watch. Because Prabhupada was the real deal, and others of us, as long as we're following strictly, we become empowered to speak. But if you ever see, that's why you always want to be reading the books to see if something is not according to shastra. Then we'll consult with other advanced devotees, and we want to be careful. Anyway, cool. Any other question? Okay, well, we'll just go on with our questions that we've got here. Got some neat questions. So the first one, by the way, this is not in order. So let's start with the one I've got here by Kalki Prabhu. He's asking, Krishna is telling Arjuna, is this Kalki or was this Lakshman?
This was Kalki Gurudev. Yeah.
Krishna is telling Arjuna, if a yogi leaves their body during the time when the sun is in the northern hemisphere, March through late September, one will go to Brahman. When yogi leaves the body when the sun is in the southern hemisphere during the 6 months of darkness, October through February, yogi goes to the moon and then returns. Okay, so I think these are 4 different questions.
Yes,
when he speaks of yogi, is he referring to a non-Krishna conscious soul practicing other forms of yoga rather than bhakti? Yes, what's happening in this part of Bhagavad-gita is Krishna showing there's 2 paths, and he's showing the advantages and disadvantages of either path. So this is what's going on. Krishna is showing. And the answer is yes, this is definitely a non-devotee. It could be a yogi, but not a bhakti, not someone who's practicing bhakti.
Okay.
So this is a regular yogi and a devotee. So that's what that's referring to. I get confused with Brahman and Brahman. So is Brahman Krishna or a heavenly planet? Brahman is a teacher, scholar, or priest. Is that correct? Okay. The way, interestingly, is very interesting. When Kalki sent me the question, whatever font he sent it, or I had on my computer, is it's basically saying one word is Brahman and Brahman the same. Where I'm going with this is they're 2 different words, Brahman and Brahman with a long A. Brahman or Brahman and Brahman. Brahman, short A, Brahman, long A. They're very different words, totally different words. A Brahmin, long A, is someone who has on a Brahmin thread. Now, there are different types of Brahmins. There are Brahmins who are not devotees, but they're following the Vedas. They're expert at mantras and tantras and all kinds of things. And they can do all kinds, sacrifices to go to heavenly planets or to go to the moon. But they're not devotees, but they're Brahmins. They're in the mode of goodness. Of course, they're influenced by the other modes as well, but generally the Brahmins are considered to be in the mode of goodness. So they're 2 different words. So is Brahman Krishna or a heavenly planet? Generally, when we speak of Brahman and Brahmana, Brahman means like the all-pervasive spiritual energy of Krishna. The Brahman is like, there's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam which says Vedanti tat tataras tatvajaj jnanamanvaya parameti paramatmeti bhagavaneti shabhyate. Brahman, Krishna, the energy coming from Krishna's body, is spiritual, and it is a level of self-realization. We're realizing that Brahman, and the pleasures is practically unlimited. It's spiritual pleasure, Brahmananda. It's way beyond heavenly planets to be in the Brahman. But it's not a planet. The Brahman is this is way above heavenly planets. Brahman is that energy coming from Krishna's body. And a Brahmana is the person. So if someone, for example, say a Brahmin, he's practicing, he goes to a heavenly planet, he can maybe go to the moon, which is mentioned here. And he can live on the moon. The moon is a very heavenly planet, really heavenly. So you could be on the heavenly planet of the moon, and but when that karma runs out, then you're going to come back down and take birth again. You do reincarnate. Or was that part of the third question?
I believe it's the last question.
Okay, all right. So they've been getting ahead of myself. But Brahmins are not all devotees. It's important that we understand that.
Okay.
And yeah, they can go, or yogis, they can go to the heavenly planets. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, Tetang bhuktva svargalokam vishalam, that even though you go there, vishalam, for many, many, many years, bhuktva vishalam, bhuktva means you're enjoying for a really long time on the heavenly planets. Kshine punye, when your piety gets exhausted, marchalokam vishanti, you're going to take birth again, you're going to reincarnate in the middle planetary systems, not in the heavenly planets. Okay, it is my understanding that if one surrenders to Krishna, practices bhakti, and remembers Krishna at the time of death, one goes to Krishna's abode. Is this Brahman? No.
It's the energy.
No. No. It's the same. It's Krishna's spiritual energy, but it's kind of like the difference between the sun and the sun's rays. The sun's rays is Brahman, but when you actually go to the sun, if you have the right body for it, the sun is a heavenly planet. Now, it's hard for us to imagine the sun. It's hot, it's full of fire, but you get a body that's mostly fire. It's like fire, like our body's mostly water. So the sun is a heavenly place. Okay, Krishna also states that if a devotee leaves the body when the sun is in the southern hemisphere, they'll go to the moon and return. Is this reincarnation? Does he mean literally to the moon or a spiritual moon? No, we're talking about a material moon that the yogi goes to. Devotees don't go to the moon. We're going back to Krishna Loka, back to the spiritual world. So remember now, Krishna's contrasting two things here in the Bhagavad-gita. So we don't have to worry about learning all about that. We're on the bhakti path right from the beginning. Right from the beginning, our goal right from the beginning is to go back to Krishna. The Vedas are there. The Vedas may try to elevate you by going to heavenly planets, but following the Vedas. But the Vedas are a very indirect way to go back to Krishna. Therefore, Krishna told Arjuna 5,000 years ago, reject the Vedas. Traigunyan Vishyar Veda Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna. Forget the Vedas. They deal mostly with material nature. I mean, it's a little, Krishna, God is in there, but it's all merged and it's not direct. And how is it that we're on the path that we're on? Krishna talks a lot about what you have to do to be a devotee. to come to him. Many births of performing piety, many, many lifetimes of gaining knowledge. What changed?
Coming in contact with a devotee.
Go a little deeper than that. What changed? Lord Chaitanya came. Lord Chaitanya showed up 500 years ago and said, hey, forget all this stuff. Patra patra vichor nahi nahi stanastan jay jana poitana kori premadan. That there's no prerequisites necessary. Suppose you want to go to medical school. Can you just you've never gone to school before, you're uneducated. If you go to the medical school, knock on the door, are they going to take you?
No.
And you got to under all kinds of stuff before they even talk to you. Ultimately, they're going to want to see how you did on your medical exam, the medical entry board. How'd you do? Then you need recommendations, all kinds of stuff. So Krishna in the Bhagavad-gita talks about all the things that are required first. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, nobody's qualified in Kali Yuga, but we want to save as many as we can anyway. Just chant the holy name, doesn't matter what you did in the past, you're forgiven. We'll drop it all. Okay?
Thank you, Gurudev.
All right, so next question is Malati's question, I think. Yes. Oh, okay, so my question for this week is based on Bhagavad-gita 1878. Now, there's something very interesting about this verse that Malati's asking about. It is the very last verse of the Bhagavad-gita. Am I right, Malati? The very, very last word, the last verse in the entire Bhagavad-gita. And that verse is, Yatra Yogeshvara Krishno, Yatra Parto Danordara, Tatar Shrir Bijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Beautiful verse. Okay, so this verse is spoken by not Malati. Who spoke this verse? Malati asked a question, so she's obviously studied. She's focused on this verse. Who got the last word? Arjuna or Krishna? Who got the last word? It wasn't Arjuna and it wasn't Krishna. Malati, help us out.
Sanjay. Oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got it, Sanjaya. You cheated. You have your phone in front of you. Did you cheat? Did you cheat?
No, Gurudev, this is just the question.
Okay.
There's the
Sanjaya. And what was going on with Sanjaya at that time? What was going on with his body? His hair was standing on its ends. I mean, he heard the Bhagavad Gita. He repeated it all to Dhritarashtra. Yeah.
Yes.
But his hair was his hair was standing on end. And that's how we should be when we're reading Bhagavad Gita. Our hair standing on end. I mean, this is like enlightening stuff. Okay, so let's get to her question. Okay, so the quote is, wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, And wherever there's Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will always be opulence, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Okay. All right, Prabhupada explains that surrender unto Krishna is the last word of all morality and religion. Here's the question, the big question. How, by surrendering unto Krishna in devotional service, represents morality? Okay, a really good question. I love it. Morality in this world means do the right thing. What is the right thing to do? Everybody agree? The highest morality is, what does Krishna want me to do? Now, very often they're the same. Mundane morality, be nice to people, be compassionate. What would Krishna say? Same thing. So, Arjuna was Arjuna on the battlefield was speaking all kinds of morality. Like, I don't want to kill these people. They're my relatives, for God's sakes, and they're good. They're all good people. Hey, nobody's perfect. Actually, some of them are, but they're really they're my family. And if I get involved in this battle, there's going to be, people are going to die. I don't want anything to do with it. There's going to be children without parents. There's going to be women that are going to lose their husbands. There's a whole thing going on. And Arjuna gave really good moral reasons why not to fight. So he was trying to do the right thing, but it wasn't what Krishna wanted. That's the highest morality. So just kind of simplify it like that, Malati.
Okay.
Morality is to do the right thing. The highest morality, what's the right thing to do? You want to think, what is the right thing to do? But the highest morality is, what does Krishna want me to do?
So doing our duty then, according to what Krishna's desire.
Correct. And very often they're the same, but sometimes they aren't.
Okay.
Sometimes they aren't. And that's the highest form of morality.
Okay. So Arjuna didn't want to fight, like you were saying, all the reasons he gave. And yet Krishna wanted him to fight because that is his duty as a Kshatriya. So when we look at ourselves, what is my duty? What will Krishna be pleased with me when I do? So now me as a wife, I have to take care of my sick husband. At the same time, he comes first, but at the same time, I have to do my duties to Krishna as well, and everybody else around me. So Krishna will be pleased. My guru will be pleased with me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like that, right? Okay.
I'm always telling you, take care of your family. Take good care of Richard.
Yes, I'm doing that, Gurudev. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Then we have who's next here? Page 2 of 3. Oh, okay. This is from Francia. And Francia is reading. Francia, this is from which book? Science of Self-Realization. Okay, that's a great book. Is saying that we are trying to be lords of material nature is saying that we are trying to be lords of material nature, and this is bad, is not transcendental consciousness or on the spiritual platform. I need to take care of my body, material nature. I decide to buy what I need to survive. Is this something that you're quoting, or this is what you're... Okay, from your own mind. Okay, got it. So I need to take care of my body, material. I decide to buy what I need to survive. I control how I spend my time and energy. So in a sense, I am the Lord of material nature. However, if I'm chanting and asking Krishna for guidance and help, does this take my actions to a spiritual platform? Yes. Yes. Sometimes reading Prabhupada leaves me with doubts about authentically living Krishna consciousness. Is taking care of the business of daily life being a lord of material nature? It can be or it can't be. It's up to where your heart is at. If you are taking care of your husband and you're feeling that you're actually controlling everything, that it's really all you, and you're actually thinking if it's without me he's gonna die, that can be very material. But if you're seeing it as I'm taking care of my husband, who's a good man, and that's what Krishna would want me to do, because that's what I'm always telling you to do. Take care of him to the best of your ability, to where it's realistic. And if we're thinking that I'm the controller of everything, that is the consciousness we don't want to be in. We have to be thinking no matter what we're doing, we're being empowered by Krishna to do it. We can't even move our bones, our body, without Krishna. We don't even have that power. That's when we're really thinking, I'm the Lord. It's by my intelligence, by my strength. We're taking Krishna out of the equation. If we put Krishna in the equation, Krishna, I'm going to go down and take care of so-and-so, and thank you for letting me get down here so I can do this. When we're realizing that everything is happening because that we're not the Lord, that if Krishna, you can't speak, you can't even think, nothing. But when we're recognizing that all this is coming from Krishna and we're doing the right thing. Does that answer your question? You're doing great. I'm proud. I like you right where you're at. You're doing really well. Okay, so now whose question is this? Oh, we're going to a new page. I think we're running out of questions. We have two more. Well, let's do Carol's. Why is it that most Americans are unfamiliar with Krishna consciousness? Well, you could probably answer this a lot of different ways. Like India, for example, Krishna's been known, and everybody. I don't think you go anywhere in Krishna, in India, or Nepal, or other places where everybody doesn't know who Krishna is. Everybody knows. Whether they fully understand it correctly or not is another story. But everybody's heard of Krishna. I wish we had some of our people here from Nepal or India. But where were you born, Rashika?
I was born in San Francisco, Gurudev.
Okay.
Yeah, but everyone in India has an understanding of Krishna. It's a very, very nice thing to say.
Yeah, it's just like Give me an example of something everybody's heard of in America. I can't come up with anything.
Like maybe the American flag or the red,
Yeah.
white, and blue or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, everybody knows a little something about America. Everybody knows that in 1492 or wherever it was. I mean, I guess there's some basic things that everybody knows. We're a democracy. I think everybody knows this is a. Of course, that's going to hell, but right now that's another story. But
Or even Jesus. Everybody in America knows Jesus.
well, that's a good example. That's a good example. That came. That's a great. Thank you, Malte. It's a great example. Yeah, pretty much everybody's heard it. I don't think anybody's not heard of Jesus. No matter whether you're Jewish or everybody's heard of Jesus. That's a great. Thank you. That was a good example. But Christianity came long time ago. They came, I guess, in the very soon as America was made America. I guess what the people came from England and different places, and that became established. But Krishna, there were a few yogis that came early on, but they didn't have much impact. There were a few yogis that came, but only when Prabhupada came, and this was 1965, and it took him a little while to get in gear in America. But it wasn't until the 70s that devotees were showing up in airports and stuff, and it just wasn't here. It's just been a few years. And I also will have to say that I don't know if we could say now that most people have probably heard of Krishna by now, at least heard. I don't know. I can't answer that. But it seems everywhere you go, people know the Krishnas. You really got to be in the boonies somewhere that you haven't come across. I mean, as obnoxious as some of the things we did, airports and we did a lot of things that I think were not good. But at least they knew us, right? I mean, people are. I think it's pretty. I don't think you find many people nowadays that haven't heard of Krishna.
I am finding that actually, because I've been talking about it more, just because I'm into it, and so I may mention it offhand that I have this celebration once a month at my house with the Hare Krishnas, and most people just kind of like, I don't know, they probably just let me keep talking, and then maybe if I pause and I'll say, "Are you familiar with them?" No, it's yeah.
They've
So
heard
I'm
of
not
us.
finding
They've
it.
probably heard of us, but they may not
Yes.
know much about us.
Right, but then I feel like they are left to maybe conclude that, oh, she's into something that is not mainstream. And that kind of leaves me like, I just want to talk more about it, but I guess I just have to find a better audience.
The word you used in your question was unfamiliar. Now,
Yeah.
familiar, we'd have to define it. Because it's kind of a, it can be, a little something about it, or a lot about it. But if they just heard the Hare Krishnas, well, they're somewhat familiar. Yeah? Doesn't mean they know the philosophy. So we'd have to, what do we mean by familiar? They have much knowledge. Probably not many people have much knowledge, but people know the Krishnas.
I guess what maybe I'm driving toward is why aren't more people practicing it? And I think to be able to practice it or to live Krishna conscious, you have to be first familiar or exposed to it. And then maybe, there's the anecdote about trying to light a wet fire or trying to light wet wood.
Well,
and you have to kind of let it season and dry out and keep trying maybe, and then it eventually sparks and someone's like, oh, that's interesting, tell me more about that. But it's so rare, and I guess, like I said, I'm so interested in it right now. I want to create that community, and maybe just the people where I'm talking,
well, here's something Prabhupada
I'm
said.
not connecting with them or something. I don't know.
Here's an analogy Prabhupada made. He said, you will not find many people in a diamond store, but you will find many people, buying junk, artificial. Like, I mean, it's almost like why buy something that you can't even tell? Nobody can tell the difference unless you're a mineralogist or something, or a jeweler who would, I don't know, fancy, who are what are they called, jewelers? Who sells fancy stuff?
I think you're right, jewelers.
Yeah. I mean, they can look at something, they don't, but a fake diamond necklace to any of us, if they said which is the real one and which is the fake one, I don't think none of us could tell, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so why nobody wants to buy the expensive one? You get the fake one, it looks the same. So, not many people are looking to really surrender to Krishna. They really don't want. They're not shopping for diamonds. They're looking for something cheap.
I really like that analogy, and I think it's fitting. Like I said, considering the folks that I've been chatting with, but I think it's somewhere, somehow, at a yoga, studio or art studio or something, I'm gonna really connect with somebody in my town, and then just keep this growing because it's really important to me.
Yeah, and you can always set up. If you find people interested, we can always do a Zoom class. Like
I love that.
Like the devotees from Tucson can only come so often. What do they come, once a month or something? I know they're coming soon,
on Monday,
soon, or they're on the way or something.
They'll be here on Monday, and just to touch back on what we were talking about last week when we talked about shopping and kind of how shopping had lost some of its meaning for me, or I'm developing vairagya or whatever that case is. In this case, in shopping for the upcoming celebration, my heart's filled with so much joy, like, all the things I'm going to buy and how I'm going to stuff the peppers with cream cheese and spinach and artichoke, and just, I don't know, just all the details. I love it. But that's also what I do for a living too, catering. So it all kind of goes hand in hand. So I love the prasadam part of what I do. And so this shopping experience this weekend coming up will be joyful. So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
I think
I'm shopping for Krishna.
And eventually, when you're shopping for a new broom or something, or some kind of mundane piece of, you're buying it for Krishna. You're buying it for Krishna. You're going to buy it for Krishna's home, because it's not your house where you are, whether you own it or not. I mean, who owns anything, right?
Yeah, all of this is really starting to resonate with me, and it's just, some days it moves me to tears. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah, so buying, all the stuff that you need to do. If you got to go to the dentist, it's cool. This is Krishna gave you this body, and you want to be able to use it to eat prasadam and look nice. So that's when we start. We should see everything connected to Krishna. Everything. Everything connected to Krishna. Okay, then I think our last question.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for the question. It's a great one. Actually, this is a very good question. This is a really good question, Rasika. I wanted to know the difference between tapasya and austerity. Also, is this purification process also in this purification process, why is performing austerity needed if chanting the holy name is enough to purify us? Okay, so let's talk about the difference between the two words tapasya and austerity. What's the difference between these two words? Actually, really nothing. One is the word in Sanskrit, tapasya, so we translate it to English. So they're basically matching what English word fits, and so that's the word that's used. Now, some words don't translate very well, and sometimes the meaning is very different in another country. But I think this is pretty straightforward. Tapasya, we're doing something that we ordinarily wouldn't like to do because it's going to benefit me. Like, for example, I get up early in the morning to chant. That's, a tapasya. But I do it because it makes it easy to chant. So anyway, now you're asking why, if the holy name is all we need, why add the tapasya? I'll give you an analogy. It's like if you're sick and a doctor gives you medicine. That medicine that you're taking is really all you need, ultimately. But the doctor may tell you to take some other things that will help it to work better. It'll make the medicine work better. Like if you get exercise with it, if you exercise, you do certain exercises like physical therapy, that's going to help the medicine. It's going to work better. It'll work faster. It'll be more effective. So by the austerities that we do, like me getting up in the morning, it makes the holy name work better. By observing things like Ekadasi, etc., it's going to make it work better. The medicine is really the holy name in this age. I didn't hear Lord Chaitanya talk about much other than chant the holy name, chant the holy name, chant the holy name. And anyone will benefit. Prabhupada gave us the 4 regular principles. Are those regular principles really going to purify us? I mean, a lot of people became vegetarian. A lot of demons are vegetarian. A lot of people, they are faithful to their wives. Is that going to take them back to Krishna? A lot of people don't gamble. Is that going to purify them? Is it going to purify their hearts? Because they're not gambling? Which one did I miss? We did.
Intoxication.
Intoxication. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, they don't drink at all. They don't take any intoxication. My parents didn't. But they weren't nothing holy about it. But for a devotee, if you do these things, it's going to make the holy name work better. But the holy name is a medicine, and everything else helps it. And Prabhupada gave us the most important things he said that really help us is to follow those 4 principles. But the holy name is what's really doing it. That's why it's the Yuga Dharma. And even if someone is, let's say someone is taking intoxication, I know people, I know devotees that they take intoxication. They're not always purely vegetarian. Perhaps they play bingo or go to a casino from time to time. And maybe they're a little loose. But they like to chant. They like the Krishnas. They like the devotees. They like chanting. They're definitely getting purified still. The holy name can never be contaminated. If you go in a house of prostitution and you're waiting your turn, but you're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, you're still getting pure. It's still working. It just works a lot better if you do the austerity, add the austerities. And a lot of times what will happen is people will, like when I first started chanting, well, I was vegetarian. Well, and I guess I was in pretty good shape. I was already vegetarian. I never gambled. I never even learned how to play cards. But intoxication, that was, intoxication and illicit sex, they made up for everything else. And I was chanting, and I was getting purified. That purification of the holy name gave me the strength to give up these other things. Otherwise, I don't think I ever would have quit. The holy name got so sweet, and I was told, well, if you don't do this and you don't do that, it's going to get even better. It'll work faster. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Gurudev.
Cool. All right. We're pretty much at the end of our hour. I see a hand up.
Oh, I have a question, Gurudev. I'm not sure if you saw it.
I'm sure I printed it. And you had a good question. Maybe I didn't see it. What's your question?
My question for this week is to understand the 2 terms I hear and read frequently, sukriti and ontology, or ontological position. Regarding sukriti, the context sounds like good or pious karma. I'm unclear if it means transcendental activity, which also sounds like bhakti, or materially pious activity. And then I have the question on ontology.
Ontology is, it's not a word I use very much. Ontological, isn't it a way of understanding? Look it up and tell me what does it say?
Let me look it up. I actually heard it. This has been a question I've had for a long time. I heard it when I came into the movement, and to this day, I still don't know what it means. Okay. Ontology is a structured framework that describes the concepts, relationships, and categories of entities within a specific domain. And so with ontology, my question was, it sounds like it is another word for tattva, but every time I hear this word ontology, I really don't understand the speaker or the writer what they're referring to.
Yeah, I'm not. I just can't answer the question. I'm just have to
Okay.
plead ignorance. I never heard Prabhupada use the word, and
Yeah.
it's not part of my. I'd have to really study and learn what it means and what it's all about. But I can't answer that. So we could talk about Sukriti.
Mhm.
And what did you want to know about Sukriti?
Sukriti, every time I read or hear the word Sukriti, the context sounds like good or pious karma.
Yes, it's doing good things. It's doing yeah, it's creating good karma, doing good things that you're going to benefit from it by doing good things. And then there's also a term called ajnata-sukriti that we hear a lot. Ajnata-sukriti. Ajnata means unknowingly. So if you're unknowingly doing some devotional service, you're getting credit for it. So you're doing something like if you let's say a devotee breaks down and have a flat tire, and you just stop, you don't know anything about devotional service, you don't know anything about devotees, but you help them fix the tire and get on their way. You were doing devotional service. That was the ajnata-sukriti. Because you're serving the devotees, even not knowing what you're doing. You're not knowingly, like you come to the temple, you know this is you're doing something for Krishna, but you didn't even know what you did. That's ajnata-sukriti. You're getting the spiritual credit for that. It's devotional service, even though it wasn't intended to be devotional service. You were just trying to be a nice guy. A car broke down or had a flat tire. You help them get it. There's people in there with these sheets or wearing sheets, and they're some kind of goofy group. One of them had a ponytail growing off the back of his head, and the woman had she had this chain that was going from her ear to her nose. You don't see that so much anymore. But anyway, they had no idea what they were doing, but they were just helping these people out. Well, it just so happened they were devotees. Now, if they weren't devotees, you're going to get good karma. Good karma for it, but not devotional service.
So Sukriti could be good.
Sukriti is two words in Sanskrit. Su, which is like a prefix, which means good, and kriti means to do, like the Sanskrit word kriti, karma. It's all the same root. To do, to act. So you're doing something good. And it can be material sukriti or spiritual.
There we go.
So I was giving an example that if you just a nice family broke down and you help them out, it's not going to help you get back to Krishna. It's going to give you some good karma. You could definitely rack up some good karma for it. But when it's done, the way you hear devotees using the term ajnata-sukriti means that, like, if you do anything for a devotee, or not even knowing that you're doing any service at all, you're going to get some ajnata-sukriti for it, unknowingly.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Sometimes we'll say, like prasadam, if somebody comes to a feast and they eat prasadam, they don't know it's anything spiritual about it, but they're making spiritual advancement. They're not intentionally doing devotional service. It's ajnata-sukriti. All right.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Time's up. We've hit the ding. This is fun. thank you all for
Thank
being
you,
here.
Gurudev.
This is a pleasure. I hope everybody enjoyed this as much as I did. Anybody,
we
by
did.
the way, everybody's welcome back tomorrow. Anyone who's got the time to join us will be doing it again tomorrow with a whole new set of questions, etc. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Yeah. Gurudev ki jai. Hare
Hare
Krishna.